latest episode of Community Association Car Chat. It's Monday morning again. Every week seems like to come back. I hate that day, especially when it's raining. So, Steve, why don't you go along and introduce our guest for today?
All right. Thank you for the introduction, David. My name is Steve Roderick, and David and I spend most of our days and evenings working with boards and managers in community associations. Now, but we're in insurance, right? And insurance guys, we love our acronyms. And so today, our guest, we have Karel Costa Armas. Now, he's an LCAM, CMCA, AMS, PCAM, right? That works for resource property management. And we're going to find out a little bit about what all those letters mean. But Karel, Karel, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, where you do it at? Because it looks sunny where you're at. It's not very sunny where we are.
Well, I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa right now, Pete. I've been in this industry about 16 years, and I received my PCAM. I worked real hard for it a year and a half ago. And yes, it's sunny. It's really hot, man. But this is where everybody wants to live now, and they pay a lot of money for it. And there's, I think this is a state with the most condos and the most issues, and where all the new laws are made because of all the problems here.
Yeah, well, and we thank you for that. Thank you very much. But anyway, so how did you ever get into community association management?
Well, that's interesting, because I consider myself somebody who takes advantage of opportunities. And I was, at the time, I had been a real estate broker, and the market tanked about 2006 or so. Yeah. And, as a fluke, somebody said, hey, man, you'd be good at managing our building down in Key Biscayne. And I said, yeah, okay. I thought, I'll just do this for a few weeks and then I'll move on. Well, 16 years later, here I am.
Wow. A little birdie told me that prior to real estate that you may or may not have been involved in law enforcement. Is that correct?
I am a retired police officer from Miami-Dade County.
Oh, wow.
Some time in the military. So that's just my nature. I missed that job quite a bit, but you'll find, and those that are in the industry here with as a CAM, it's a lot of enforcement. So it's kind of similar, policing, and sometimes just as dangerous.
Nah, come on now. Not in Florida.
Oh, you should have taken. Sometimes you got to go wearing some body armor.
Well, yeah. We're going to leave that can of worm closed for now, but yeah, I think your word for it. Now, one thing that connected us, because I met you through the platform we're on right now. I met you through LinkedIn. Question for you: Why do you post so often on social media, particularly LinkedIn? Why do you see that it's important, not just as a business partner, but as a property manager?
Well, I want to stand out. That's number one. And I want to also demonstrate my experience. I don't see a lot of managers posting out there, or even management companies. They might post about how great they are, but I prefer to post about, hey, look at this disaster. Look at this roof that fell apart. Look at this pipe that blew up. Look at this that's falling down, because that's a real world thing. And, that brings a lot of credibility to my experience. So let's say I was going out for a great new position somewhere. I can very easily tell the prospective employer or client, listen, if you want to see what I've done, look at the last 4 or 5 years worth of videos, actual stuff with my hands on it, with my face in it. Now, I picked LinkedIn because it's supposed to be the business platform. And there's all sorts of stuff on LinkedIn, but that's where I'm going to find people that are the ones that are more interested in looking at the business type videos and content.
Okay. All right. So you're putting out some educational pieces, and you're getting it out there to a lot of eyes. So networking is clearly that's part of the focus here. But why is networking really important for you in what you're doing?
Networking is important in life, and fortunately, I came to realize that a little late, because I was always, again, I was at the top. I was very focused, and I just thought, I just got to get results. I got to get the job done. But I'll tell you something personal. A few years ago, I saw myself out of a job. I was unemployed because of political coup d'etat. And, it was just God's way of showing me that I needed to do more and be more. But I realized at that point that I had not networked and I didn't have a close relationship with the vendors in the industry. And I started to realize as I reached out to people, many reached out to me out of their kindness. And I discovered that vendors, contractors, people in the business, seriously, knew where the openings were, where the problems were, and who needed what. Who were the decision makers in management companies that really needed that expert? And they said, hey, look, Karel, go to this person, go to that person. So it's like the old cliche, it's who you know. And I decided a few years ago that I was going to be as nice as I could and promote the vendors as much as I could. That's why LinkedIn is so useful for me, because I tag people, I use hashtags, and I really want to help.
And now is that why, I mean, with LinkedIn, you don't really have control over how far it goes, but you go pretty far. I mean, you're getting out there nationwide. Is that advantageous for you?
Well, I go a step further. I don't just post, I pay for promotion of those videos. And
okay.
So I'll spend anywhere $300 to $1,000 a month just to get more reach. That's my investment in myself.
Wow.
So I do get calls from managers and vendors nationwide. Even I just got some from Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and they really just have industry questions. And that's what's led me to do what I do the way I do it.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah. And, this is an author that I like, David Nour, had this quote in one of his books. He was saying, so your network is your net worth. And if you can leverage that network, you always will be able to keep pushing forward, to move along. So I like that concept, and it seems like we're in line with this. And that's really the idea here in this episode today, to stress the importance to whoever's viewing this. Build your network, reach out to Karel, and reach out to Steve. We'll help you for sure with our connections, but that's the goal. Build your network and get your visibility going. Now, do you have any recommendation, Karel, for managers, CAMs that are looking to expand their network? What can they do better? What should their focus be? Because they're not already spend $1,000 a month on LinkedIn.
Well, I think they need to focus on consistency, and in social media, consistency is very important. For example, you have your platform with these interviews, and you do it weekly or monthly or whatever people decide to do. They need to be consistent, and they need to understand that there is a source within them for creativity. But you always have to ask yourself, hey, am I in a situation where I can post or take a picture or use this later? So there's a lot of free avenues. I have a Facebook business page. I actually have 2 Facebook business pages for CAM, and LinkedIn, and a website. I have my own KarelCosta.com. I have a consulting site, and I link them all. So the same content can be used on all of them. I may change the text around. So managers should realize that the online presence that they have is their resume. You are your online presence, and if you Google your name and a lot of negative things come up and nothing professional, you have a problem. Because if you're going for a serious position, board members or a management company or something, they're going to look online to see, well, what's out there about you? Is it you partying? Is it you at Ultra with drinking beer and stuff? It really depends. So I try to control what is out there on social media and who I connect with.
Well, that's definitely a small strategy. But it's actually a good idea to check out the post from your potential board members. You don't think about it necessarily. You definitely check out your manager. But whoever's running for the board, it's a good idea. Now, do you think managers are missing something in this industry just at large in order to do their job better? It's a little shifting gear here.
Well, I think a lot of managers are missing support, and I mean support from their own management companies. There are a lot of corporate leaders, some regionals, even vice presidents that don't have the AMS or the PCAM designations, or don't even have the experience as an on-site manager, and the managers right now are lacking answers to some vital questions. So they need to decide that they're going to invest in themselves in some personal development, go for their CMCA for sure, their AMS, their PCAM. If you see yourself as a manager and you know you're going to be in this industry in the next 5 years, you should definitely go for your PCAM. And chances are your management company might pay for it all. They may support it all. But they are missing direct support templates and answers from experienced leaders, so that the right decisions could be made at the association level.
Okay.
Very good point.
Fair enough. I've seen it with my own two eyes. You are correct, sir. You mentioned something a little earlier. You said something about consulting. Now, do you do consulting? Like, who's it for? Can you tell us a little bit about that side of what you do?
I have a consulting business, and it started off as a curiosity because I did start getting a lot of phone calls, again, from different states, from different countries, and they wanted information on how to set up a community, and I was like, well, who are you? And it turns out that a lot of developers and such, even outside this country, will hire just a property manager or somebody that's not in this precise business, or somebody in construction. And I also, because of my law enforcement background, was very curious because of all the finger pointing. There's a lot of allegations in this business, and a lot of presidents that don't understand the duties of the board or how decisions are made. They don't really know how hard it is to be a board member or even a manager. And they start blaming. The typical allegation is that board member stealing, money. And most of the time, that's not the case. So I have a service, a consulting service, where I evaluate, I investigate, and I let people know, hey, this is what you're doing right. This is what you could be doing better. And at times there are things that, hey, this is something you're doing very wrong. But look at yourselves in the insurance industry. There are so many operational missing links in so many associations that open the association to liability. And that's a big thing I do, is I say, oh my God, you don't have this resolution in place. You don't have spending limits. You don't have this procedure in place. So you are opening yourself to a lawsuit, or again, liability, HR, a lot of problems do come up. So I evaluate those things, and I try to provide that service.
Now, how do one get a hold of you to request your consulting expertise?
Well, again, I'm on the web. My consulting site's homeownerassociationconsulting.com, and I have a blog. I have videos. It's very educational. And again, it's a non-confrontational service, because a lot of times I get a group of people that have pitchforks and everything, fire's lit, and say, we want that SOB in jail. And I said, look, that may be the case. It may lead to that. But that's not the aim here. The aim here is an overall wholeness. How healthy is your association? How are you operating? We're not here to get that guy in jail. We're here to make sure that the next board doesn't have the opportunity to make those same mistakes. Sure. So that's where you want to stop it. And again, I bring the insurance topic up because I also find insurance companies send inspectors to look for trip and fall hazards or this or that. But nobody's inspecting the procedures, the spending limits, the big dollar items.
Yeah,
that's our job.
Yeah, that's our job. You're definitely preaching to the choir here, and unfortunately, our industry is somewhat broken on that regard. But that's a whole different car chat episode. Let's move on. Steve, do you have anything for our guest today?
Well, you know what? We do like to have some fun on the show. So, Karel, if you're ready, I got some rapid fire here. Some real easy questions, real simple stuff.
Okay.
All righty. So, for you personally, what's the worst part about flying in general? Flying anywhere?
Flying? Well, lack of food and lack of sleep, I guess.
All right.
That's a good one.
All right, trivia for you. Who played the original voice of Darth Vader?
I am your father, Luke.
Yes. Who did that voiceover?
James Earl Jones.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Wow.
Actually, he's a WVU alumni, by the way. Just another fun fact about James Earl Jones for you. But all right. So, nutrition aside, what's your ideal breakfast look like?
Man, I have a shake. That's it.
That's it?
My ideal is just a protein shake. I wake up at 2:30 every morning. And by the time I'm done working out at 5:30, I have a shake. I wish it was bacon and pancakes and, a side of more bacon. But
okay. Yeah, all right. So you're an early riser. I get it. All right. How do you typically get your news?
Online. Facebook.
Yeah.
Link. Yeah, I don't watch TV unless it's a Disney Channel because I got a lot of kids.
Got it. All right. Here's an interesting one. So me and David we're locked in a heated game of chess. Right. Which one of us wins?
You win because Dave's gonna want to talk about it and philosophical about your move. And
that's good. Did you hear that, David? You talk too much. Of the 4 Jaws movies, which is your favorite?
The first, always the first.
Right on. Okay. And you mentioned military, you mentioned law enforcement. So this is kind of a redundant or rhetorical question, but have you ever had a concussion?
Probably several. I've jumped out of planes quite a few times, and you hit the ground at about 40 miles an hour. So.
Ooh, wow. All right. Get up and run. Which is worth more, a euro or a dollar?
A euro, I believe.
Okay. How many Instas do you post a week?
How many what, sir?
On Instagram. How many posts on Instagram do you post?
Oh, barely any anymore. That's just
okay. All right. Last one. Who is your all-time greatest sports hero?
Man, believe it or not, I don't have any sports heroes. But right now, it would have to be Tom Brady because he's such a balanced guy.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, thank you for being such a good sport about it. Davis, you want to take us out?
Yeah, sure. But before we jump out, in 10 seconds or less, did you have any crazy story that ever happened to you in your job as manager?
A lot of crazy stories.
Give us one PG-13.
13? Well, I saw somebody jump off a building. How about that? That's a little dark-sided, but it happens.
Hopefully it was a short building. They tucked and rolled.
Very tall. One
well, yeah. Well, when we can start the Monday morning. Well, in the meantime, Karel will give you now a few seconds. You can plug for whatever you want. The next 10 seconds are yours. Go ahead.
Listen, all I want is for managers to be more credible, give themselves more credit, get some personal development, get your CMCA, your PCAM, give the best you got to your client. That's all.
All right. Very, very well put. Very well put. Sage advice for the managers out there. Karel, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you,
We
gentlemen.
appreciate you being here. We'll see you next time in the next episode of Community Association Call Chat. See you around.